is we have the non-pharmaceutical ability to trigger bone growth, to trigger new growth through your body's own natural processes. You know, your bones know how to get stronger. They just need the right stimulus.
You are listening to the ultimate biohack for women, a movement of women who know what they want and go get it. You know the answers lie within. Reach in and grab hold. This is a movement of women who tune in and turn their selves on. Now you're biohacking the woman's way, integrating the art and science of hacking your biology like a woman. Tap your magic, conjure your yes, upgrade, elevate, maximize your potential. I'm Dr. Brandy Victory, and this is a movement that is sure to hack your soul. Hey, soul sisters, I am back with you, and I have something so extraordinary to bring with you. I am here with some incredible light beings that I am just realizing how much light they're bringing to the world, and I just am getting to know them. This is Jess and Ryan. They are with OsteoStrong. OsteoStrong, and they'll tell you more, but OsteoStrong is like the absolute number one thing that you should be doing for your body. And it doesn't matter if you're an athlete, if you're aging, if you're nothing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like if you want to have longevity in your life and you want to have functionality in your body and you want to feel like you're turning yourself on and your life is on fire, like this is one of those things. This is as important as meditation to me. So I'm really excited for this conversation. We're going to get to hear a little bit about OsteoStrong and the benefits and how this is going to like help you improve your life. So thank you both for being here, Jesi and Ryan.
Thank you so much for having us.
Mm-hmm. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a blessing. I got really jazzed about this because I actually heard about OsteoStrong from Dave Asprey, and I was like, oh. And then I think I heard another interview on another biohacking podcast, and I was like, OsteoStrong again. I got to figure out what this is about, you know. And then the guy who developed OsteoStrong, which you'll be able to tell the story, but I was so impressed with his desire, his deep passion to help his mother recover from osteoporosis. And I was like, wow, I have osteoporotic patients. I have to know about this stuff. And so that's when I called. I was like, I have to know what you're up to. So I head on down and I go, and Ryan's like, here, you want to try it out? And I'm like, sure, let's do that. So I got to experience it a couple of times. Plus they have this really cool, I don't know what that was, thing that turns your cells on and lights you up from the inside. So I'll let them share all that with you. But, you know, my experience was, it's not like going to the gym. I'm a gym fanatic. I love going to the gym. I get so high going to the gym. But this is kind of, it looks like a gym when you walk in, but you aren't necessarily, first of all, you're working with a coach one-on-one. So you're not, and it's small and there's not a lot of people in there. So you're not like being stared at by everybody in the gym, which is a lot of my women are like, oh, I hate going to the gym. There's so many people. And then you're not actually like lifting weights. You're actually doing these other types of exercises that build your bone, not your muscle. So lifting weights builds your muscle. OsteoStrong builds your bones, which is way, way more important because if you don't have strong bones, who cares if you have strong muscles, right? So I just walked out of there elated. Somehow working out your bones and strengthening your bones actually like turns you on. Like I walked out of there so excited and turned on. So here I am like with these lovely people to tell me why that happens. And so so we can turn you on too. So thank you very much for being here.
I love it. Love that intro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you want to just share a little bit about who you are, how you got here, why you chose OsteoStrong, and a little bit about OsteoStrong?
Yeah, I'll start. Thanks. So my name is Ryan, and I found out about OsteoStrong through a very unique arena. I was doing a lot of work with Tony Robbins and traveling around the world, literally, learning about how to better myself, how to be a better leader, how to be a better business owner, how to be a better human, because that's what this biohacking concept is, right? Figure it out from all angles. And from the stage at one of his events was the CEO and founder of OsteoStrong, and he was there presenting this new methodology, this new concept for strengthening from the inside out. So I looked into it and I did some research, and at that time in life, Jesse and I were going through a lot of changes in terms of trying to figure out what we're doing here. What's our purpose? We're both just turned the 40 mark, and at that point, it was like really looking deep into the mirror of what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? We spent the first 40 years figuring out who we were. Now let's spend the next 40 giving back to contribute to the world. And so when we learned about OsteoStrong, it was really fascinating because here we are in Boulder, Colorado, where, for those of you that might know Boulder, it has everything when it comes to health and spirituality and new cutting edge technologies. Excuse me. And to hear about this new system based around a technology that literally is cutting edge from the perspective of having a unique opportunity to be able to achieve a plethora of results in a very short amount of time. We did the research. It's all scientifically backed. And from that perspective, we said it is such a blessing to be able to bring a healing community to Boulder to help women, many women. Women are specifically a large part of our demographic, but also everyone. And so we jumped on it and are building an incredible community and meeting amazing people like Dr. Brandy here and just attracting some of the best of the best. And we're just so blessed and excited to be able to continue to spread the word on this. And then that brings in my wife, who was there on this journey with me to support me. So I'll hand this over.
Yeah, he's a hard one to keep up with. He's always coming home with different business ideas and exciting new options. And as he mentioned, we had a focus on how we make a contribution with those businesses, that it was far more about the legacy we leave than any type of profit associated with. So he came home super excited about this new business idea, and I looked into the research, but I have a series of books that I'm doing, yoga teaching, Reiki training, spiritual coaching. I have all these others. So once I saw the research, I got extremely enamored and excited for him, but said, this is his thing. I will support him. I'm going to do mine. And as a part of that support process, I went to the convention that year, 3 months after we decided to buy and open an OsteoStrong in Boulder. And when I was at the convention, my mind got blown. My heart got blown to see the much bigger picture. This is so much more than us helping people with their bone density. This really is empowering people to get their lives back. I knew that I had to be a part of it, and I couldn't wait to help him open and get this on the ground running so that we could offer this to our Boulder community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really amazing to me because, when I heard, it helps with osteoporosis. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you just think bone structure, like, okay, let's do that. But even from my own experience, like, I felt so different walking out of there. And I've done this a few times, you know what I mean? But even after the first time, I just felt so good about myself. Like, I don't know what it is. And it likely could be part of, like, just what you bring to the environment. Because the moment I stepped in, I was like, oh, this feels really good in here. Yeah, absolutely. And, what you bring, like who you be is what lights people up, right? Yeah. And your tool is the OsteoStrong that helps people get into your door, but you're bringing so much more than just bone strengthening. And so I'm so excited to hear more about like your stories of like the guy when I was there, they have a picture tree on their wall about how strong you're getting as you go. And some people are like 100% stronger than they were. And this was like, I don't know, a 70-year-old guy or something. And now his strength is 100% more than when he started. And he was so happy, Yeah. Yeah. So it's bringing to life like empowerment in a really deep way.
Thank you. Thank you for noticing and acknowledging the culture of our center, because that was everything. We based the entire design on our core values and our mission statement of what we wanted to offer the community, and utilizing OsteoStrong as a vessel and an avenue for people to reach their health goals, and that it's most important for us to help people empower themselves from the inside out and turn them on in what lights them up, and then they get to go and spread, and from that place make the contributions they came here to make.
Yes. Amen. Wonderful. Sweet. So you want to kind of I love what really got my data mind going, because I am a scientist at heart, is the fact that you have such a high percentage of recovery from osteoporosis compared to anything else I've seen. I can turn, without OsteoStrong, I can turn osteoporosis around, but it's going to take me a good 2 years. And the data, it goes really slowly. And it also is dependent upon what drugs they're taking. Bless you.
Thank you.
But with adding what you're doing, that takes it to a whole nother level. Yeah. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit. I'll back it up a notch just to explain a little bit about what OsteoStrong is, because I love what Dr. Brandy said in the beginning, just regarding how it kind of looks like a gym, but it's different. And oftentimes we really want to delineate that we are not a gym. We are a wellness center that's based around focusing on the one thing we all have in common, which is a skeletal system. And so we focus on the foundation, on the musculoskeletal system, by utilizing this system, which is 4 different pieces of equipment. And the equipment's designed to target a different quadrant of the skeletal system. So we know, based on science that dates back from the late 1800s, Dr. Julius Wolff, it's called Wolff's Law. He was the first person that discovered that you can actually build stronger bones, and you do so through compression, through impact or compressive forces done through the axis of the bone. And so that's kind of the science that our system was built on, and it's called osteogenic loading. So osteogenic loading means loading the bones with force. And so these machines are designed in a very safe and effective way to be able to meet you where you're at. And that's why she mentioned earlier that you're always being guided through the system by a coach, because we're always working with you hand in hand to make sure you're safe, to make sure you're comfortable, but also to set you up in the best positioning to be able to achieve your maximum amount of force. And it's that what we call impact emulation that is allowing you to reach such a large amounts of compressive forces through the bone that you're able to trigger that growth. And that's where our system was actually coined the ultimate biohack by Dave Asprey, because the sessions are an average of 10 to 15 minutes, 1 time per week. Which is fascinating, right? It's like so many people say, how is that even possible? And it's actually, to take it a layer deeper, it's only about 60 seconds of actual effort in that 10 to 15 minutes, because we're working with a completely different methodology here. We're focusing on bone growth. And so the human conditioning is that everything has to take longer to achieve those results. Well, that was all the old story before biohacking, right? And that's why we're so excited about being able to do this in a short burst, because once you compress the bone, you trigger the growth. So we just need to get you to the place where you activate the trigger. And when you say you get turned on and you get lit up, it's because your central nervous system is firing on all cylinders. You just activated osteogenesis. Not only osteogenesis, that's building new bone density, but there's all these other benefits that come from it as well, involving muscle strength, involving joint, tendon, and ligament strength, and also involving improving balance and posture. And this all starts from the inside out. And that's where what we're doing is so unique and different than anything else out there. So that was a little bit of a run there I made. So
I love it. And correct me, my understanding is that these machines were designed based on how gymnasts load their own. Gymnasts have strong bones, is my understanding, right? And their loading ability, how they load their bones that has strengthened them through their exercises and their gymnastic is part of how they've designed these machines. So you don't actually have to do gymnastics to load your bone. You actually use the machine. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is where I think it helps to know a little bit of the history of the making of these machines. With Dr. John Jaquish, who you were speaking, he built these for his mother. When he was doing his biomedical engineer doctorate, his mother was suffering from osteoporosis and not doing well with the drugs. And so he designed this system. So he scoured the research, having known Wolff's Law. They knew that it was impact and compression, but no one knew how much, in what way. And so as he continued to scour research, he found that gymnasts have the highest bone density of athletes on the planet. Unfortunately, they also have the shortest careers because that impact is so devastating on their joints and tendons. That impact comes from that one landing, that one big triple jump that they're coming off of the high bars. Then they come down with such a tremendous amount of force. But again, no one knew exactly how much. So he continued to scour research, and there was a study in 2014 that found...
2012.
I'm sorry, 2012. I jumped. That found it took 4 times multiples of body weight to 4.2 multiples of body weight to generate osteogenesis in the hip. And so now we knew the minimal dosing that it took. Understanding all this, he couldn't sign his 70-year-old mother up for gymnastics classes. That would never work. So he designed these machines to emulate that impact without the risk of what the impact would cause. So that's why we call it impact emulation. So you're set up in your strongest position, and therefore you can apply 7 times more force production to be able to apply that load back onto your body, and that's how we achieve osteogenesis. And these machines are built with a biofeedback system, so it will immediately tell you how much force production you just put into your body and give you an idea, calculating your multiple body weight, of how much trigger you just put through your body for that loading session.
Wow, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I know I have a lot of patients who are on Fosamax and the osteoporosis drugs, or patients who are deciding to not be on the drugs, and that kind of thing. But what I think is so important for people to understand is that, yes, on the testing, they'll show greater bone density when they're on Fosamax or the other osteoporosis drugs. Bone density will go up. But what they don't tell you is that bone fragility goes up as well, because you have osteoblasts and osteoclasts. You have bone building cells and bone breaking down cells. All of our tissues are always building themselves up and breaking themselves down, building themselves up and breaking themselves down. Our goal, especially as biohackers, is to keep building ourselves up faster than it's breaking down, or to slow down the breakdown rate. Well, with the osteoporosis drugs, they basically stop the breakdown rate.
Right.
But the problem with that is that the cells that are there become old and fragile.
Absolutely.
So now you've got density, but it's fragile bone, so your risk for fracture hasn't changed at all. And I think with what you're doing, it's improving the risk fracture.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think to come back to the science, like you were mentioning before, we're really supportive of everyone's decisions, right? We don't take a stand on the osteoporosis drugs. We encourage everyone to be educated on what they're choosing to do to better themselves. What's really amazing from an OsteoStrong perspective is we have the non-pharmaceutical ability to trigger bone growth, to trigger new growth through your body's own natural processes. Your bones know how to get stronger. They just need the right stimulus. And so what we tell people is, because a lot of people come into us concerned about they have osteoporosis and they don't know what to do about it. And what we tell them is anything that's been deconditioned, like your bone, to be labeled as osteoporotic can be reconditioned. Just like you can recondition a muscle with the right stimulus.
Sure.
The hard part was finding that stimulus, hence why Dr. Jaquish created this system for his, at the time, mid-60s-year-old mother to be able to undergo the process to rebuild bone. And moving forward 18 months later, after using the OsteoStrong machines, she reversed her osteoporosis. And so that's really where the foundation of our company was built. So whether you're choosing to utilize the drugs or not, we still work with you in tandem. And so through our system, you're able to trigger those osteoblasts like you were just talking about, which go through and build new tissue. And so there was a study that was conducted on the OsteoStrong equipment that showed the average. So it was all with women in their 60s with either osteoporosis or osteopenia. And within 6 months, they were able to build a 14%, have a 14% bone density increase based on the study that they conducted.
That is incredible.
It is incredible,
it
absolutely.
Is really incredible.
And it gives us the ability to give people that hope back, especially, here in Boulder, a lot of people are saying, I don't want to do the drugs. And here we are saying, okay, well, we can help. Let's put this into action. So it gives, like Jesi said before, it gives you back the control and the belief and the freedom to do what you want to do, to live the life of your dreams, because you're not now concerned about not having the answer. So
yeah, I love that. And Tony Robbins is involved in OsteoStrong, right? And he had benefits from what is it that he has? I can't remember. He has some kind of bone.
It's a thyroid.
It's a pituitary.
Pituitary.
That's right. It's a pituitary.
And it messes with his structure, right? Yeah.
Tony. So that's an interesting story that you bring up. So Tony actually had a trainer that one of his lead trainers couldn't keep up with his pace. Couldn't keep up with Tony's pace anymore, and so he had to step away. And then fast forward, he ended up coming back to work with Tony, and Tony said, "What are you doing? What happened? How'd you improve, and where you been and whatnot?" And so he told him the whole story, and it was OsteoStrong, working with the equipment at OsteoStrong, that gave the trainer the strength and the energy, stamina, agility to come back into the game, to get back on the field. Tony said, okay, I need to find out about this equipment. Called Dr. Jaquish, and at the time he was like, I want to buy your equipment. And Dr. Jaquish said, we don't sell our equipment to people. And he goes, no, I need to buy your equipment. I'm Tony Robbins. And he said, all right, I'll sell you the equipment. And fast forward, him and his wife both used the equipment for about 5 years and loved it, right? Just absolutely. His wife doesn't do any exercise like that consistently because of the amount of time and effort. And he says that she absolutely loved OsteoStrong because it's 10 minutes one time per week. And you can see the measurable results that come from it. And so him and his wife both had such amazing results that they chose to partner with the company. So Tony is the business development side and investment side of OsteoStrong, and he actually owns just under half of the company.
Wow. Yeah, that's how amazing it was for him.
Big testament.
That's so cool. I know. Oh my gosh. I love it. Yeah. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Good stuff. I'll probably edit this piece out because I just lost my train of thought. Like, wow, I didn't know I did that. Okay. 6:42. I was going to ask you something else. All right. Anything coming to mind that you want to talk about?
Well, I would say that with Tony and his experience on the machines, it really expanded the demographic and then became far more than just about being osteoporosis and serving women who had, or anyone, who had that need, but that athletes could get a competitive edge. And we are very privileged to work with world-class athletes who are seeing results. And not only does it help increase the competitive edge of their game, but it's helping to rehab and prevent injuries, because through first loading the bone responds with osteogenesis. There's a aspect, neural inhibition. Your body will only ever allow you to get as strong as your bones can support. So if you continue to push your weight gain, unless you're taking drugs that interfere with that, right? That's why the steroids do that. Outside of that, you will not be able to outperform your bone strength, and you will hit a plateau. Many athletes experience this. So through loading the bone and increasing the bone strength, there's actually a response of the body of myofibril hypertrophy, and so there's building denser muscles. And we find also there's fibrocartilage calcification, the tendons and ligaments that are attaching the bones and the muscles together through the joints are strengthened. And so we personally had a 6-degree black belt sensei in our center, and he was telling us about how he, after a month or so of coming to our center, He and his wife, they work together, and they're both incredible martial artists. He was doing this really complicated kick, and he was up in the middle of the air, and he knew he was coming down wrong. And the force from which this special kick, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what it is. This is way beyond my understanding.
It involved flipping.
It definitely involved flipping and spiraling, the kind of stuff you watch on movies.
Sure, yeah.
So he was coming down with such tremendous force. His wife and him both felt like it was possibly going to bust his knee. And he came down and it hurt tremendously. And for 3 days, it hurt tremendously, but he did not dislocate his knee, and it rehabbed. And he asked us, do you think, and he believes that this was what helped him prevent that injury. So there's more than even just the competitive edge that we can gift people. And then this is where it expands into the everyday person, because many of us are experiencing the effects of aging, and our backs hurt, our joints hurt, our sitting lifestyles are affecting us in many different ways. And so by providing this system, you're able to target things that help your body renew and rejuvenate itself and prevent those aging effects from happening.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I think people chalk up. Like, I had a patient today. She came in for her re-exam. She's been working with me for 4 months. 4 months ago, we did a micronutrient test. We found what was deficient. We found some digestive stuff in the small intestine. We treated for both of those. I had her on a protocol for the last 4 months. She came in for her re-exam today. And I say to her, yeah, so this is so great because everything is clear. Like, there's nothing, like nothing's tender on her. Everything feels great. She's like, yeah, I just didn't know when I think, she's like, she was constipated. So she's like, I knew there was something wrong with my colon. Like, I thought maybe I should have more fiber, but I never even really thought about the small intestine. And, I've learned so much. And, I just thought all this stuff was a part of aging. And I was like, yeah, this is what we do as a culture. We go, oh, this is happening because I'm aging. This is happening. No, I'm sorry. You're not aging. Yeah, maybe you're getting older, but we have physiological age and then we have biological age. And we have this, I was born in 1972, so I'm going to be 47 years old this month. And, I want my physiological age to be younger than that. And the way we do that is to be able to do things like OsteoStrong and other biohacking procedures that reduce the amount of wear and tear that we have on our body, or at least be able to stand up to it. For me personally, I've been pushing really, really hard for a few months now, like really hard. And my adrenals have been taxed. Like, I literally got adrenal fatigue. I'm having to treat myself for adrenal fatigue. And, it's going to be all worth it in the end. And I can tell the longer I stay in this state, even though I'm treating for it, I'm still pushing, right? So I'm still in that my adrenals are a little bit, And the longer I stay in the state, the more impact I can feel that it has on my tendons, ligaments, and bones. So, of course, I'm doing a supplement protocol to support my bone structure. Now I'm feeding my bones. The same thing I would do for somebody with osteoporosis. I don't have osteoporosis, but I know that when my adrenals are triggered or when I'm stressed so much for a long period of time, and who's not, it pulls out minerals from the bones, from the tissues, from the ligaments. We actually have a term called, and you may have heard this, ligament laxity from adrenal fatigue. Like, that happens. So it's not the person that comes in and they say, oh, yeah, my back hurts because I picked up, or it is the person that comes in and says, I picked up a newspaper. Well, it's not the newspaper that caused your back problem.
Right.
It's the ligament laxity that's going on because you're not strengthening from the inside out. And you're under high stress. So I just see how this can be, this just needs to be for everyone, right? Everyone has stress, and everyone is going to age, right? Nobody's going to stop the aging process. And if we want to be vital, functional beings till the day we die and not sitting in a wheelchair and drool for 10 years before we go, you might want to do this.
I love it. I think you're bringing up such a valuable point that we've created an umbrella excuse of aging, that aging now is the culprit of all of these different metabolic functions in decline. And while there is an aspect of that being true, there is definitely a recognition that there's so much that we have the power within the body that made the body, can heal the body, and that this is it's not a victim situation. It's a choice that we have consistently to make choices to help empower us against the environmental pressures, the aging pressures that are going to come upon us. And right now we're extending the human life, and that continues to be celebrated, but we don't talk about the quality of that life and what it means to be 90 years old and getting up and down from the floor, or being able to see and drive and continue to maintain an independent lifestyle at any age.
At any age. And it's doable. It's totally doable.
Right.
I had a 92-year-old patient come in, and her daughter is a patient. So her daughter brought her mom in. She's like, "Could you treat my mom?" I'm like, "Absolutely." She's 92. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how precious." She lives on her own. She flew on her own across the United States. She got off the plane on her own. You know, 92.
Those are my favorite. They just won't quit. You can't. Right.
This is how I want to be.
Yes.
I'm
gonna be.
I'm gonna be. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. I love it. Yeah. Like, why not?
Right.
Why choose something other than that?
Right.
And not making a choice is making a choice.
Right. Absolutely. We're a creator, whether we choose it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why all these tools in the tool belt are so valuable, right? And we recognize that OsteoStrong is one tool in the tool belt, and it plays a very important role in providing that ability to take back your strength, take back your life, and do so. You know, there's just a reality that life is busy and life is crazy, and you know how so many people just don't have time, or they use the excuse that they're too busy. And here, OsteoStrong provides that answer, that 10 minutes one time per week. And if you can't give yourself 10 minutes one time per week, then OsteoStrong is probably not a good fit for you anyhow.
Yeah.
So
and you're going to be drilling in your wheelchair for 10
years.
years.
If you prefer drooling in wheelchairs, then don't come see us. But no, really though, I love the where the conversation's going, because it's so valid. Of we all have the choice, right, of what we choose to do with our time, and we want to support everyone, and we see ourselves as a resource center. We know that what we do it very well, and we're the best in the world at it because we're the only in the world at it, and yet we're not gonna pretend to be Dr. Brandy, right? We're gonna give you the resources to go see who else you need to see to make your life the best that it possibly can be, and that's the empowerment that we're really working with here, and that's what makes it so exciting to have not only these tools in our tool belt, but the resources to send you elsewhere. And one thing else, side note there, she mentioned the cellular enhancement, and it's called the BioCharger, and it's something that we have unique to our center. Some centers have them, some centers don't, but it's a platform that's designed around a Tesla coil that's all about improving cellular health. And so we really see our center based around your foundation being your skeletal foundation and your cellular foundation, and if we can work to maximize the benefits of both, then you're going to be able to live your best life.
Amen.
This conversation just fires me up, and I can only imagine you feel the same way. We feel like we have the best members on the planet, and it's so exciting to see that we're attracting people who are not taking no for an answer, and they want to win back their lives. And we're continuing to see that more and more people come into taking full responsibility for their state, their mental state, health state, and physical state, and really diving into that aspect of responsibility and creating that for themselves. And I can only imagine, the fact that a woman Ultimate BioHack for Women podcast is attracting these type of people, and the type of medicine and the philosophy of medicine that you yourself practice is culminating this hope for people and empowerment.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for doing that work. Yeah. Fires me up.
Yeah, me too.
Oh boy. Hope is here.
Yes. Awesome. So yeah, I just want to, something that keeps popping in my mind just to kind of, before we close here, I just want to let people know that you guys make it so much fun too. Like really, like it's fun. Like you're I think my favorite part was standing on the vibration board and on one foot and catching the little things and throwing them back, or closing my eyes and doing it, trying to do that. So you're like, close your eyes. No feet. I'm like, what? What am I doing? So lots of fun to be had there. Plus you're getting better. Is there anything that you would like to say before, is there any way people can get in touch with you, or anything you'd like to say about, what you're offering?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've said it a few times. So, company's called OsteoStrong. It's on a global expansion now as a company. You know, when Tony joined the company a few years ago, he really instilled that culture, that fun culture, that community-based culture, raving fan society where, you know, we're in this for you, really. Like, you know, yeah, we're so blessed to be on this side of it, to be able to offer this, but this is about everyone. This is about how can we make this better for you? How can we make this better to create an environment that everybody thrives in? And so we just love that, and that's just not our center. That's OsteoStrong across the board. And so when we speak, we're speaking from Boulder, Colorado here, but you can look up OsteoStrong at the website www.osteostrong.me. And at the top of the page, there's a location button, and you can pull down the locations and see if there's a center near you. And, you know, every center is independently owned and operated, so I can speak from Boulder's center that as a listener of Dr. Brandy's, we're willing to offer you 2 free sessions to come in to experience our center, to really understand what we're doing. We'll educate you on it. We'll bring you through the machines. You'll get everything that Brandy's talking about here. You'll have your own firsthand experience with that. I can't speak that to every center, but I can assure you that if you were to mention this podcast and you were to call an OsteoStrong location near you, they would offer you at least 1 complimentary session, and you can ask them about 2, and that's up to them. We'll also give you the full experience on the BioCharger as well, so you can experience what it's like to combine both modalities together. And you can call our center. Our phone number is 303-569-8422. Again, 303-569-8422 if you want to write that down. And just mention this, and we'd be happy to get you in and give you the full experience. And, you know, we're just so grateful to have this time here with you and raising the vibration, raising the energy, and building a community around it, because there's nothing better than surrounding yourself with like-minded people that are all on the same path and the same mission. So come on in and see us and see what all the hype's about. Try and prove us wrong that 60 seconds of effort, you're not going to be buzzing.
Right on. Yeah. So I like to, at the end of these conversations, I always like to ask, and I already know what your answer is going to be, so maybe outside of OsteoStrong, what is your number one biohack?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know that I have really evaluated and prioritized what I'm numbering. I mean, this is something that I was introduced to the whole BioHack once we went through OsteoStrong, and so I'm playing with the bulletproof diet and the bulletproof intermittent fasting. I would say that meditation and prayer, whatever that means to you, just manifesting dreams and vision process has always been one of my most valuable resources that could carry me through anything and lift me into the strongest, most clear version of me. So
awesome. Yeah, thank you.
For me, I would say breath.
Good one. Good one. So easy to forget to breathe.
It's really a blessing that our central nervous system does it for us.
Yeah, I know, right? Awesome. Well, thank you so much both for being here. It's just such a blessing and a pleasure to be in your energy, your vibration, and to just know exactly what you're really doing out there. I mean, it was one thing to go in your store and go, oh, this is really cool, but it's like a whole nother thing to see the radiance that you two project. So really appreciate it. Thank you for being on the show, and I look forward to more connections with you both.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Grateful.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Biohack for Women. If you'd like to dive deeper with our tribe, join us on Facebook or Instagram. And if you'd like to help grow our tribe, share this episode with your friends. Let's bring this light to our community so that other women can know their true power and we can create a tribe together worth being in.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Dr. Brandy Victory is not a medical doctor, and the views and statements expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Dr. Brandy Victory and the producers, disclaim responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.